the longer you talk when I send the questions, the better it will actually sound. So if you feel like you're rambling on, you're probably talking the right amount for it to sound good.
So you want yeses and nos?
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, we'll be done in like 7 minutes, and everyone will be like, "Oh, that was quick. Yeah, we got it all done."
What are you aiming for?
So we aim for 30 minutes. Is what
we're having a chat then, right?
Yeah. Welcome to the Slightly Serious Sign Podcast, brought to you by Wensco Sign Supply, the #1 podcast in the sign and graphics industry for news, events, new products, and customer success stories. If you want to know what's going on or you want to grow your sign shop, you're in the right place. Here is one, some, or all of your hosts, Mike, Tyler, and Domingo. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Slightly Serious Sign Podcast. As you can see, again, we're here at ISA, so if it looks a little different, sounds a little different than when we're in the studio, we're here at ISA. You can maybe hear in the background, the show just started here, so it's live here on the final day of the show. We get to have some people on that it would be a little more difficult to get to come into the studio here, so I appreciate you letting me do this and coming on with me. If you want to give people an introduction, who you are, where we're sitting here in the show, and what kind of you do here.
Yeah, no, thanks very much, Tyler. Yeah, so I'm Stuart Fox. I'm the president and CEO of Kongsberg Precision Cutting Systems. So as you can see around the stand here, we have Kongsberg and Multicam machines here. So the Multicam routers that are manufactured in Dallas, in Texas, and then the Kongsberg cutting machines, which have been around 61 years now. Kongsberg has been around, and they're manufactured in Europe. So and we come to ISA every year. You can see we're really close to the south entrance here, trying to gather as much footfall as we can. And we've got a number of applications that we're showing here for customers to have a look at, to give them some inspiration, right? That's what we're trying to do, is inspire customers to see what they can do. It's not just a piece of equipment, something to really inspire them to produce for their customers.
Yeah, so Multicam is one we've been dealing with for a while, right? Kongsberg is new to us. What was kind of the idea behind you guys acquiring that and adding it to your line?
Yeah, so when we see, if I go a little bit earlier, so if you look back 5 or 6 years ago, Kongsberg predominantly was roughly half into the packaging industry, corrugated, carton board, etc. And when I say packaging, I'm including corrugated POP displays, etc. you see in supermarkets. And then, of course, we have the other side, which was sign, graphics, but lightweight, so really graphic materials. And a number of times, many times over the years, customers say, well, can you do half-inch aluminum? No, not really. It's a bit heavy duty for a Kongsberg machine. We're really lightweight graphics machine. Your ACMs, your die bond, fine, no problem. A couple of millimeters, but we don't want to get into half-inch or even plexiglass half-inches. It's not. So having Multicam from a product level, it just expanded our footprint. And of course, Multicam, very popular in the sign market, very popular for making permanent signs, permanent graphics, etc., but also exists in other markets outside of print and graphics and sign making. People that make RVs, people that make bathrooms, boats and things like that. They appear everywhere. So it's quite strategic from our point of view to say, well, let's open up some of the markets and the segments. Kongsberg, great business, been around, like I say, 61 years. But in some ways quite narrow, and I think for us to grow as a business, you need to reach into other markets. We have a lot of turmoil going on in the world now, but different markets have different cyclicality. So the boat industry might be doing great, even if the packaging industry is having a slowdown. So it's kind of a strategic decision, but also I'm an engineer at heart. So seeing a more heavy duty router that's used, 24/7 for doing, like I say, aluminum, plexiglass, wood, whatever, it's just a great addition to the portfolio.
Yeah. And how's that grown for your growth? How many customers, the interesting thing I would see is how many customers have come in, they're looking at Kongsberg, right? They're doing packaging and have ended up moving to a full-blown router instead of just going to Kongsberg. How often are you seeing that happen?
I would say it's probably, if I take another step back here, when we looked at acquiring Multicam, one of the attractiveness of the business was there wasn't a lot of overlap. You could go into a customer that's been with Kongsberg for 20 years and not find a Multicam. Or you could go into a long-standing Multicam customer and not find a Kongsberg. Well, that's great. We're not eating our own breakfast here, 100%. So we do see now where, contrary to what you'd think, we sell Kongsbergs into packaging companies who are doing short-run digital, right? It's the removing the work away from die makers, right? But then you'll see that same customer saying, well, actually, we've still got die presses. We'd like to buy a multicam to make our dies.
Yeah.
So we're kind of both ends of the die making world, digital on one end, traditional on the other, but it's attractive for both customers. So I would say, would we like to sell more routers into Kongsberg customers and vice versa? Yeah, we would. But I think that the way customers view the machines, digital, Kongsberg goes with a digital press, a router goes with die making or heavy duty materials. So there's kind of a subconscious division in a lot of customers' eyes where those two products sit.
Yeah, so we're obviously here at ISA, so you're getting a lot of sign shops coming in. What are the types of customers that are leaning into a Kongsberg versus the types of customers that are leaning into a multicam? So
with a Kongsberg machine, and one of the strengths of the Kongsberg machine for decades now is if you're doing a lightweight graphics, so your like I said, your die bonds, your foam PVC vinyls, you can buy a Kongsberg and it's multi-purpose. We can handle hundreds of materials. But like I say, when it's coming to so customers who want sort of the Swiss Army knife, do a little bit of everything, lightweight materials, and then the customers that would say perhaps we're producing really permanent outdoor signs. It's going to be aluminum and plexiglass, and maybe it's a 3D letters with LED lighting in it. They'll buy a multicam, because that's what it's good for. You can also have knives and things like that on a multicam, but you can also have a 20 horsepower spindle on there for doing a lot of heavy materials.
Yeah.
And one of the and you can see why multicam is such a good brand in the US. Whereas I live in the UK, so I'll make the example. If a sign shop is making signs for a supermarket in the UK, a small supermarket or even a mid-sized supermarket chain, couple of hundred stores.
Yeah.
That's it. In the US, you go and do signs for CVS or something, it's like, I don't know, 5,000 stores or more. So you need a big router for doing that. You're churning out, multiple signs on the side of a building. It's a different scale.
Yeah. So do you think there is a difference in just terms of how long you're planning on running the machines on a daily basis, or how much you're trying to run if you're deciding between Kongsberg and Multicam then?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's part of it. I think the materials itself will lead you that way. If you're doing, 3/4 inch plexiglass or acrylic, you just pick a multicam every time. It's going to eat through there like, a hot knife through butter.
Yeah, for sure.
But if you need a machine that's going to do a little bit of everything, vinyl decals one day, cutting some fabrics another, maybe doing a couple of sheets of ACM, it's great. Use a Kongsberg. You can, we have different models. And also if you're doing lots of corrugated displays, we have the Kongsberg Ultimate, which is the fastest machine out there today. So that's your thoroughbred racehorse, right?
Yeah.
And you can have a Kongsberg, another model of Kongsberg that does everything. And then on the other side, if you're doing heavier materials, you want a thoroughbred. It's a multicam for doing those heavy materials. And they live in a different environment. The multicam machines are built, in Texas. They weigh tons. The thick steel plates.
Yeah. They'll
sit there and churn through heavy materials. For I'm going to say, I think the oldest machine I know in the field is about 25 years on a multicam. They could be older, but they last forever.
Yeah. No, I think it's interesting. So what do you think, so if a customer is doing a lot of like decal work, light work, what do you think, obviously the multicam can do it, which is what we've pushed people to in the past, because that's what we had available. What do you think the speed difference is on the one you just mentioned for cutting decals compared to if you use the knife attachment on a multicam?
So if you put, like, say, and we do have a customer actually, on our Ultimate, we've got a kiss cutting tool on there now for doing kiss cutting vinyl. It's gonna be 4 times the speed. So, but it's cutting, whatever it is, an eighth of an inch thick vinyl, or less, 32nd of an inch. Very, very thin. So, an Ultimate's designed for that speed, but you can't route on it.
Yeah.
It doesn't do really heavy, juicy materials. And I think, just so you understand, when we were looking at this, probably 5 years ago now, it was just pre-COVID, customers want a machine that goes super, super, super fast and does super, super, super heavy. So, well, hang on, there's a point where you get to like a junction in the road where it's actually, if you really want the Ultimate in cutting corrugated and lightweight materials, the mass and the weight that goes on the gantry is different when you're carrying a heavy router.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a natural diversion for the technology to say, listen, carbon fiber traverse, lightweight, ultimate, that's fine. You want really 20 horsepower spindle for doing 1-inch MDF, it's a multicam. You know, they go off in different directions.
Do you think you're having to explain that to a lot of customers that are
yeah,
like, you're really picking between the horsepower and the speed you want? There's some give on both sides of that.
No, I think people understand that because machines have got faster and more productive over the years. You just can't move a 20 horsepower spindle around lightning fast and cut 1-inch vinyl letters. It's just there's a compromise here. I think people it's very easy to explain, right? You want super fast, it needs to go lightweight. You could apply to a boat, a car, a motorcycle. You need lightweight, right, for the acceleration. But you want to go, for a long time heavy duty, you need some weight and strength and that to do that, to have that kind of stability.
Do you guys find you're competing with a lot of people that are in the middle ground of that space, right? They can go pretty fast and their horsepower is somewhere in the middle where you're having to ask the customer, like, well, you're going to be limited one way or the other, right? Yeah. Maybe it can do the vinyl and it can do it at a relatively good speed, but if you're going to get into, if you're going to do 1/8 acrylic, okay, maybe it's going to work, but are you going to do half? Or are you going to do 3/4? You have customers that want to do 1-inch, are you going to get that far?
Yeah.
And you're going to be limited by horsepower.
No, it's a good question, because the next question I would ask a customer is say, well, if you want to do 1/2-inch acrylic, if you do that once a week, you can buy a Kongsberg C and put a 3 kilowatt router. That's going to be okay. You tell me you're going to do 8 a day and say, listen, you're going off down the wrong creek here. You need to think about a dedicated router for doing that.
Yeah.
Now, of course, customers don't have necessarily the funds to go, well, I'll have one of each, right? So you might buy a Kongsberg with a 3 kilowatt router and say, I'll live with it for 18 months. And I'll just have to admit it goes a little bit slower. Maybe they'll charge or price accordingly. Or perhaps routing heavy materials because they're doing permanent outdoor signs is the way they go, and they'll buy a Kongsberg later and go for a multicam router from the beginning. Yeah.
So you have to pick one from the start to push through.
And it's a little bit like today, you can have if you think in printer terms, a hybrid Kongsberg that has a router and cutting, right, for different tools, etc. Another way, like you can have a dedicated UV flatbed, or you can have a hybrid machine. It kind of does both quite well, but it doesn't do all of them excellently. This is the trade-off. It's like buying a family car. You all want a Ferrari, but you're going to end up with a minivan that does a bit of everything, right?
That's true. Yeah, I was driving a minivan all week this week as a rental. It was great. Yeah, no complaints. I see what you're saying, and I think it's interesting as a conversation that I don't think we're having a lot of times. It's usually like we either don't need a router or we do need a router, and not a like, okay, well, there's a lot of variability once you get into that space. And I think that's interesting just as someone who doesn't deal with it a ton to hear it. So
and of course you can take that depending on your audience. When you're talking to a customer, let's say you're talking to the CEO of that or the managing director of that business, you can have a Kongsberg that's cutting very nice high quality vinyl decals to go on a vehicle wrap or something. How much are you getting a square foot? If you're cutting 1/2-inch acrylic as part of a nice external permanent sign, you're probably getting a lot more for your dollar hour spent. So what's the value of the product? If you've got a multicam router that's doing 20 sheets of acrylic or aluminum every day, there's a price to that base material. You're adding value with the router from your designs, and then you're perhaps constructing a permanent graphic or sign going outside and getting thousands of dollars for doing that. Or in the same time, you can cut hundreds of decals. So what's their aspiration, right? If you're moving into this sort of digital cutting or digital routing, where do you want to add value? If the customer says, well, actually, I want to go into more permanent outdoor signs, I would say steer away from the vinyl, because you can do that on lots of machines, and there's a lot of value to be added with the materials that you're concentrating on.
And and vinyl isn't luckily, knock something over there. Vinyl luckily isn't just stuck to flatbeds either as well. So a lot of them already have a roll-to-roll option. So you're looking at like, okay, my options are to increase throughput on cutting vinyl now, or add something that totally doesn't exist into the business. And if that's where you're leaning, it sounds like you're saying I would lean more towards the router side than to do that.
In that example, you're doing like permanent outdoor signage. Now, let's say you've picked up a major brand I don't know, a company that's maybe got high street stores or stores in malls. Well, now hang on, we can do the window graphics in vinyl, we can do the corrugated displays. You maybe want to route the external signage for it. Maybe you need something that's going to do all the materials as customers, because you just picked a contract up for a year to do 100 stores around the US, unless you need something that's multi-purpose, right?
That makes sense.
It's really, that's from your salespeople, our sales point of view, is having that quality of conversation with the customer and really understanding what's the motivation here, what's their desire.
Special thanks this month to SIL, GFP, and General Formulations. You can check out their products at wensco.com. I think, what are the questions that you're asking that's really steering someone away? Maybe they come into the booth thinking just like, oh, I'm getting this machine. I know this is what I need for my business. What are the conversations you guys are having, or the questions you're asking that are getting them to rethink which option they're going to go with?
Well, I think it's just being careful and understanding the customer. So if a customer comes in and says, I want to buy a router, I'm not going to talk them out of it, right? Basically, we want you to buy a router. I'd say that's great. What's your applications? What are you doing with it? What are the challenges that you've got today, which mean you've reached the conclusion you want a router or you want a Kongsberg machine? How have you reached that? And kind of walk them through it, and then they're going to convince me that they kind of what they want. And then if I see that kind of a small hole or in their argument or their description, so well, why are you going that way? They'll explain to me, we've picked this, I don't know, supermarket chain or this outdoor sports shop or whatever, and then talk me through why they want to do it, what applications are, and then just reality check. Because there's nothing, for many years I was the other side of I was a customer buying printers, buying guillotines, buying machines. There's nothing worse than buying the wrong product.
100%.
And then thinking, the sales guy could have told me, so we want all our customers to be happy. We've got 14, nearly 15,000 Kongsbergs installed in the world. There's a similar 14.5, 14.7, I think, multicams. I think the oldest Kongsberg we know of that I saw recently actually was built in 1984, and it's still running, just before you were born. It's still running, and the operating system is MS-DOS. So you literally have to type load, pull a CAD file in, and execute. But it still works, and they're still happy with it. Most of the people operating weren't even born when it was there.
84.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, even I was shocked. Yeah. And I'll tell you how old it is. I've been with Kongsberg 16 years, and I'd never seen one. I'd only ever seen a photo in a PowerPoint. I'm like, what? There's one of these here. It's like, it is. And I was really, really surprised. But that's great. So, we can talk about how great our machines are, but that customer's happy with the machine. That's, it's still running. Yeah. Complains that you can't get spares anymore. I'm like, listen,
Yeah. The people that were making those parts don't exist even anymore. Oftentimes. No. Yeah, that's crazy though. 84 is a while for that machine to be out in the field. When we went through, like kind of how your guys' sales process works, right? So when we're bringing in a lead, I was super happy with how that process works, because what it sounds like is what you just said. You're worried that a customer will make the wrong decision and find out, 6 weeks down the road that, I didn't get enough power, or maybe the one I thought I needed was way over what I actually need, and what I actually needed was speed. And like I said, sometimes they come in, especially in the world we live in now with AI, right, where they're just going to ask a question and it's just going to spit out a response where that information came from, right? It might be like, oh, you need this machine. And they come in and be like, yeah, it said I need this one. And when you talk them through it, they actually need either 2 steps up or 2 steps down from that. Right. And you can either save them money or a lot of headache in the long run. So with that being said, this show's not exactly a great example of it, but the previous shows that we've done here at ISA have been a good example of. There's a lot of products coming in from overseas now that are from companies that nobody's ever heard of, right? And they're these very affordable machines that are coming in that seem like they can do a lot of work. What have you guys seen from those machines, and what are some of the concerns with getting a machine from overseas versus buying one from a brand that's been making it since 84?
I think I'm kind of split 2 ways, because if you need a quick machine and you want to buy something from overseas and it's super budget and you need it now, I think it's okay. You could make that decision. When it's probably a bit of my psyche. Like, if I'm buying a dishwasher or a laundry machine, I want to get my value for money. So I'm still in that mindset. I would buy a Kongsberg. because I want it to last years. But I also understand that for some people, they go, well, the Kongsberg is a premium performance or a Multicam premium performance. It's not the cheapest in the market. It will never be the cheapest in the market. But if you want somebody that's going to still be around in another 50 years, then maybe Kongsberg and Multicam are the place to come. But sometimes you'll buy something less expensive because it's good enough for now. But then what I do see, and we see it globally, is some of those less expensive products, they're not really interested in, because they're built at a price, the sales process is usually short and sharp. If you expect it to last 5 years, I think you as a customer maybe you're talking to the wrong people, right? Because they don't think it should be there. And they're not selling you something that's going to be there in 5, 7, 10 years' time. So in England we say horses for courses. I don't know if you know that saying.
No.
Which means it's, certain types of racetracks need a certain type of horse. Is it hurdles? Is it a flat oval? So the right horse for the right course, right? That's where the English saying comes from. So you're opening a quick startup in some state in the USA to see if you can build a business there, then in fact maybe a low-cost printer and a low-cost cutter is where you can start and prove the concept. But don't expect to go back in 7 years or from 1984 and ask for spares again. No chance.
I mean, the other one you see on this is where does that sit as a piece in your business, right? Is it a big bottleneck for you? Because if it is, those machines are always going to have, which this can lead into what support looks like for your machines too, but it can always lead to, if anything does go down, usually the parts are, if you're lucky, they're here in the States, but oftentimes they're not, and they're going to ship them to you, and it doesn't. If you're not familiar with that process, it's not very fast to get them from over there. And usually it's hey, you're going to have a phone call with a guy, and he's going to explain to you how to unscrew these 37 things and put a new part in there, and you're going to hope you put it back together in the same order. So so what does support and service look like on these machines from your guys' side?
So we around the world, so we have in Europe for Multicam and Kongsberg, we have a factory in the Czech Republic where we keep spare parts and consumables. So, and in the States, in Ohio, we also have a spare part. It's a logistics spare part. So we want to ship everything same day where possible. Occasionally we get caught out, but we collect the data. We know the high runners. If there's a part that, operators break a cable occasionally, but we know, okay, we'll keep 30 of those in stock because people keep cutting them or something like that. We do that. So we try and monitor that, but we know customers want the part the next day in most cases, right? And they want. I think the biggest thing is we've been talking internally. We did it before Christmas. We had a workshop on the future of Kongsberg and Multicam business, and we looked at it and we said, actually, you can still talk to a human here. And I think as much as you sometimes want to log, all the companies want to log a case and stuff like even we do, but you kind of want somebody to talk to at the end of it if you're frustrated or something. So we're trying to retain that human, that touch, with all the fireworks around AI. We still think you're going to end up wanting to talk a human because there'll be some limitation or some imaginary aberration in the AI chatbot that kind of throws you some curveballs in there, so we still want to be the business where you can talk to a human, that we have the spare parts, and if you feel up to it, we can talk you through it, but sometimes just send me the parts and an engineer and get it fixed for me. That's what customers want. They still want that human contact. And the same with buying a machine. Sometimes, when you talk to a customer who, like here at ISA, asks you about a product, I often say, what should be keeping you awake at night, Mr. Customer or Mrs. Customer? What are you thinking about, and what are you not thinking about? Where is this going in the future? So I think it's okay for a human to challenge another human on their thinking. And I think if you do that, you can become a value-added partner. I say to some of the new salespeople that join us and some of the sales management, imagine your customer had to pay for your visit. Like a salesman going to visit a customer said, well, come and talk to me about a Multicam or a Kongsberg machine. When you leave, say, would you have paid for my time? And if he goes, yeah, I'd have paid $50 for the hour we had. You brought value to the conversation. And that, even though customers don't do that, that could be an acid test, right? That's a measure. Did you actually create value in that conversation, or did you just say, we say show up and throw up, here's a brochure and leave, right? It's like, ask the right questions, challenge the customer. And then the next time he's in the market for something, he'll say, well, I'll call Stuart, I'll call Tyler, and let's get him back in and have a discussion.
Yeah.
Maybe I need another router, or maybe I need a Kongsberg instead.
Yeah. Yeah, I always think, so we go through a pretty thorough process right before we bring on any equipment on our side. And that's because historically for us, we've been in the service business, right? So most of the original equipment that we brought on, we serviced it ourselves. So we go through that process because we know that if there's issues on that side of the business, that'll ruin everyone's relationship. It'll take it. They won't want to buy from you or from me if it goes poorly.
They don't want to talk to you.
Exactly.
They want to take your call.
Yeah. The only thing they want to do is me to pick up the machine and give them the money back. That's the only thing they care about, right? So we're pretty particular about it. And when we went through how your sales process works, how the service works, how the parts are done, it made us feel super comfortable with like, hey, this is a partner that we can depend on to get done what we need done too. But I 100% agree with you. I think if you're the guy they can call for questions on their machine and also related products because you're used to it, it becomes a way easier sales process. And I think for you guys that's what it is. And you have people here that have been doing it so long that you can just be like, listen, like we just made this joke the other day that we're having an issue with a customer that has an old Gerber router, right? And you're like, dude, we've been trying to get you to move, right? It's having issues, and we're calling around, right? You're just calling anyone you can, be like, they have this one issue, like, can we just get through this, and then we're going to work on getting them a new machine.
And then next month, another issue, right?
Yeah, exactly. But you're like, but there's only certain people you can call, and you guys have people on your team who like, if we called them and we had a specific issue that was outside of that, or like, hey, we're in the process, can we get this one fixed in the process? You would get it done, and that's I think that's huge.
It just reminded me, in Europe, we've got one of our guys is retiring, right? And because it was announced that he was retiring, it's like I had a call with him, and he's like, well, it's my time, because he's like maybe feeling a bit guilty or something. I'm like, how many years have you been with us? 47. I said, what am I going to tell you? You haven't committed to the business. You haven't worked with us long enough. I mean, good luck on your retirement and seeing the grandkids. 47 years is it's a loss on the knowledge side, but it's great that I think our average tenure is like 17 years. I
think that's huge. I mean, we have people that have been around, and we just had a guy that retired that worked there like literally out of high school and then just went through retirement, right? We've been in business 90 years. We've had people that have been here a long time now. And I think it's such a huge testament to a company about just purely how long their employees stay. Because, I mean, like, I came way back, right? Came from like the telecommunication side, right? So worked for people that are dealing with cell phones, right? And the customer experience is so bad that they lose employees, not because they treat their employees bad, but because the company treats the customers so bad that the employees have to deal with it and they leave, guilty, right?
They feel guilty about it,
and so nobody, like, there's no companies that have long tenure that treat their employees poorly because they have to take those phone calls. They have to go into customer visits and deal with angry customers.
Right.
And if they have them, nobody sticks around. So I think it's a testament to how you treat your employees and how you treat your customers is tenure. So I think that's huge. So if anyone's like in the market for a new router, what would you say they're looking at, all the competitors out in the space, what would you say to have them look and consider getting a Kongsberg or a Multicam router?
You mean from why should they come and talk to us?
Yep.
I think knowledge. I think the knowledge that the people, these are products, but the knowledge that we have goes very, very deep. I think our experience in the market as well, and having solutions that we know work for customers.
In 2026, G2G and Wensco will launch 2 new products into the market. The one is the United Stick, which is a high efficiency, affordable, and reliable product for your sign and lighting projects. The second is LumaLink, which has a power pin design that's made to be cut and done anywhere in the field or in your shop. This is for small channel letters or any large projects. Check them out at Wensco.com. This episode is brought to you by Arlon Graphics, trusted for innovative high-performance cast vinyls. Check out their newest product, DPF V9500, a non-PVC polyurethane wall film built to tackle ultra-textured surfaces like a pro. More exciting new products to come soon from Arlon. Check them all out at Wensco.com.
You often see a brochure, you have the specifications, and it's this company cuts at a half inch a minute faster than this one. we know how to make money with these machines. So I say, come and talk to us about what you would like to do, what are your aspirations as a customer. If you think you need a router, well, then still come and talk to us. Let's see if we've got the right router. And in both on the Kongsberg and the Multicam side, we try and embrace, they're all kind of a la carte. So if you want a Multicam with a linear tool changer, but actually you have a lot of tool changing, so you want you want a rotary tool changer on the side as well, okay, we can do that for you. You want, we have, I can't remember how many sizes of routers we have. There's such a wide range of routers. So come and talk to us, because we're going to have a solution for you, right? Whether you're, there's a customer that's cutting routing the window slots and stuff in the sides of RVs, right, which are fiberglass, are 40, 50 feet long, It's like, we'll make you a router that will do that kind of thing for you. So, when it's, when it, and that's on the Multicam side, on the Kongsberg side, when you have, some of these mixed applications, I think when customers come think about, I need a flatbed Kongsberg because I'm gonna cut vinyl decals or vinyl wraps or something. And they haven't thought about doing foam PVC and ACM and corrugated and things like reboard or Swede board, which is popular now. And then all of a sudden, and just to jump ahead, actually, one of the things we've done in the past very successfully is when the customers kind of decided on the machine from a specification point of view, is invite their sales director and a few salespeople to come and get a demonstration themselves, and then they leave going, "Oh my God, I can see this customer about doing this now and this," and they're inspired. And that's something that we see, that we want customers to come and see what you can achieve, what you can manufacture. One of the great things to do is, or for us to see, is how successful a customer becomes. And I'm not just talking about on the bottom line, what are they making, that they're happy, that they believe their company and business has become more creative, more innovative, and their customers are happy with what they're producing. So we're happy, they're happy, their customers happy. It's like win-win-win. Yeah.
That's what I love about being in the B2B business space, is that I always joke that I'm actually financially incentivized for you to grow your business, right? Like if you grow, typically you're going to come back and buy it if we did a good job the first time. So I always joke that as much as I'm here as a sales guy, right, I'm also here to as a consultant with you. I would like whatever solution you buy to work for your business, because typically speaking, if you grow, you're going to grow to the fact that you're going to need more equipment, more supplies, all that stuff, and we're really a partner alongside you more than we're here's your machine, okay, hopefully I never talk to you again type of deal. So
and if you look after them, and if you're true with them, even in difficult times, if there's a machine gone wrong and you can't get an inkjet head to somebody because they'll understand, because they if you tell them you can't, they know you've tried, right? So the relationship isn't ruined. I mean, I can remember, I used to be in the inkjet world many years ago, and it's not even a customer now, but somebody who's more of a friend now will say, "Oh, have you seen the latest, whatever, Swiss Q Agfa or something? What do you think of the dot placement?" And I'll give him he's ringing me for something I'm not even involved in anymore, just because he trusts my counsel, right? And that's what you want, whether you're selling a Multicam or a Kongsberg. You have customers ring up saying, "Well, should I choose between reboard and Swede board, right, for this, Well, I'll tell you what I believe is the benefits of this and that." And then we don't sell it. We don't, this is, we work with both of those suppliers. So I think customers are interested to know that you can be, like a counsel to their business, right? Somebody you can ask for input to help them make good judgments. And the reason they're doing that is because they've trusted you before, and you've not steered them badly.
No, I think that's huge. I think that's a great way to wrap this up. I love this conversation. I hope it was beneficial for people listening as well.
Was that 30 minutes?
That was 30 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah. It's funny how it goes once you sit down. But it's I love being in this space. I love getting to watch people grow. What you mentioned earlier, what we always see with routers is what they come in asking that they want to do and what they end up doing 12 months later aren't even related. And that's the benefit you get with a versatile machine that you guys have here in your booth.
Well, no, that's great, and I've really enjoyed it. But just to say, I'm always wanted to know, and I haven't done it. all the companies that buy a multicam router to go and see all their employees' kitchens, because they've only got beautiful kitchen doors and stuff that's all been routed, bespoke kitchens and stuff like that. Because I would,
You can do. Yeah, there's so much you can do that you don't even get to talk about in the sales process until, like even when did the video demonstration, they walked us through your demo center, right? And you get to see all the stuff that you guys have routed there. And you're just like, I wouldn't have even thought about half of this stuff if you never brought it up. Like it wouldn't even occur to me that you'd be like, oh yeah, you can do this application. So if you guys have any questions, we'll put a way to contact us in the description there and get a hold of them. And if you want to see some of that stuff, I know you guys do virtual as well as tours at your demo center for sure. So we can get you in touch with them and get that all scheduled. And we'd love to get you guys into a router. It would be awesome too. And thank you again for this conversation.
You're very welcome. Appreciate it.
I'm glad it went well. And thanks for listening, guys. And we'll see you in the next episode. So goodbye.
Bye.